Today on Are You Fluent, we're talking about transgender athletes. I know, it's a touchy subject, and there are many people who have very differing opinions on it. So let's stick to the things that we know and then get to some of the questions I have for you. Before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe, and in the comment section, tell me what other topics you'd like to hear on Fluent Minutes every single day. So, transgender athletes. We know that there are some that say born females and born men should compete against each other, and then there's others who say transgenders should compete with the sex or the gender that they identify with, while others say transgender athletes should have competitions on their own. On that front, I've never been one to tell people how to live, what to think, or what to do, and I'm going to stay out of that conversation. And I'm going to stick just to the clinical stuff. But first, Caitlyn Jenner recently came out and said transgender athletes should not compete. These are born men who've transitioned to female, who are now females, should not compete against born female athletes. I found that interesting, as did most people, because Caitlyn Jenner herself was a male Olympian, very successful, and you would think someone who's of the transgender community would support transgender rights. So this was really a shock to most people. But here's where I guess my question comes in. When you're looking at a female, so a born female athlete, their level of testosterone that's naturally produced in their body is in the area of 0.12 to 1.79. A male after puberty is 7.7 to 29.4. Now, if a born female were to take testosterone, which we know is a performance enhancer, and elevate their levels of testosterone, especially in something like the Olympics, that person would be disqualified from that event. Now, there has been some cases, and there's been some precedents now where transgender athletes will have lost in the court case because unless they take medication to reduce their level of testosterone, it is deemed as being unfair. However, that's at the Olympic level. We're seeing in high schools, universities, that not necessarily being the case. So in the comments, I'd like to know what you think about the transgender athlete. Where should they compete with their identified genders? Or should there be a separate class for transgender? Or do you think that it's okay that they have higher levels of testosterone than the other competitors they're competing against? For me, I look at it kind of this way. Is it fair that someone, because of just their genetics, has a advantage, a performance enhancer in their body, in this case naturally, that allows them to compete at a higher level? Well, if your daughter, and I guess it depends which one is your daughter, if your daughter is competing for a scholarship from high school, going into university, and is competing for a scholarship and loses that scholarship to someone who has higher levels of testosterone, another female who has much higher levels of testosterone, is that fair? I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm just kind of putting out what I know so far and asking your opinion. It's a subject that I think will grow with increasing as information continues to grow. But as it happens more and more, and it's going to be interesting to see where professional sports and amateur sports take these rulings. But let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at sports_fluent. Until next time, are you fluent?